Every week in the news, there is a new story about private companies or governments collecting your sensitive data without your knowledge. Whether it's the NSA, Cambridge Analytica, Google Chrome, or your ISP, there's always someone that wants to collect and sell your information. That's why I personally use virtual private network protection from our friends at Virtual Shield. They make a client that shields all traffic coming in and out of your device, and it's incredibly easy to use. Here's my unprotected IP address. All I have to do is log in and hit connect, and then look at that. It's a totally new IP that even tricks Google. VPN technology effectively shields yourself from the parties trying to track what you do online, companies, ISPs, and most government entities. I wouldn't recommend a product that I don't trust, and that's why I recommend Virtual Shield's VPN service. Virtual Shield offers a VPN service that runs natively on every platform, whether it's Windows, Apple, Android, or iOS, and it protects and shields all traffic in and out of your device. Right now, you can get Virtual Shield's VPN service on multiple devices, your PC, Android, iOS devices, even a Google Chrome extension for less than $1.50 per week. That's less than $1.50 per week for consumers. Plus, using my promo code, you get no payments for the first 30 days. And if you're a business owner, you can protect up to 50 devices beginning at $49.99 a month. A great deal to help keep you and your employees secure online. VirtualShield.com/Allsup today. It's a great deal, and they're the company that I trust.
Look, I think that the whole thing sort of like went left with the whole trad thought thing, or Thoughtgate, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, when everybody started going after people like Brittany Pettibone, like Lauren Southern, like Faith Goldie, I've been fortunate enough to be acquainted with Faith and Brittany, and they're lovely people. I haven't actually spoken with Lauren Southern. She seems like a great person and a very determined journalist. What she's doing with the South Africa thing is really remarkable, I think. My thinking has always been that when women are joining your group, that's when your group is about to break out into the mainstream. Because, like, how can I put it? Brittany, Lauren, Faith, they're okay. They are mainstream women. Okay, they're not like, they're mainstream, and they can present to the mainstream a very palatable version of what we believe in.
Right.
So when you start getting that class of people, like these women, to be actively proselytizing the ideas, well, they're your sales point. They're your sales vehicle. Okay, I don't want to make it sound. I'm just talking on a purely practical political level. Okay, I'm not making any kind of judgment call or any kind of thing about any of these people, because I respect them all. I think that they're wonderful people. But the thing is, you can't be, how can I put it, kicking your salespeople, because in a very real sense, that's what they're doing. Nobody's claiming that Brittany or Tara or Tara McCarthy or Lauren or any of these women are, big original thinkers. But then again, who is? There are very few real original thinkers.
Everything's derivative. Yeah, everything's derivative.
Yeah, most of us are recycling stuff that we've heard from other people that we admire. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? And that these terrific young women are doing that and, actively spreading the gospel is a good thing. And so when the right or the alt-right or whatever you want to call it started attacking them, I was like, what the fuck are you doing? It's like a business attacking their salespeople.
Recognize where a lot of that came from, though. A lot of this was being led by 19-year-old virgins, right? A lot of this was being led by young men who are socially maladjusted and are lashing out at women because they see women in a position of vulnerability, and it's sort of opportunity for revenge for them, because I'm 20 and haven't had a girlfriend, and look, I understand men like that, but that doesn't make what you're doing right, and again, the idea that we should be attacking people who are out there amplifying at the very least, or creating some messaging that is favorable to us, it is entirely self-defeating. I mean, who else out there, I don't know about you, but I can't post a video about South Africa and get 1 million views about it. Lauren can. I can't go to South Africa and do a full documentary and spend the resources doing that and highlighting what's happening to white Boers in South Africa, but Lauren can. And so if you're going to attack these people who are overall making a net contribution, right? I think that is self-defeating. Also, we have to recognize they never claimed to want to be leaders. nobody ever appointed them leaders. They're not leading a movement. They're creating content. They're making YouTube videos, and you are autistic to the line of being retarded if you think that making YouTube videos makes you some sort of leader and you need to be excommunicated, right? Yeah. Leaders can make videos, but by making videos, that doesn't make you a political leader. And so to all of the people out there, and some in the chat who are saying, oh, you're just white knighting for women, it's like, okay, you can enjoy a life of voluntary celibacy, sir, and I'm sure you'll have a very good time doing so. But recognizing that women can contribute to the movement but not lead it is maybe more nuanced than a lot of these 19-year-old virgins can conceive of.
Yeah, well, by the way, in your chat, a lot of people are on your side, and a lot of people are saying you're a white knight. There's one person here who's saying he claims that the alt-right went after them is silly. They went after them because they preached values they didn't live up to. First of all, who of us has? Nobody is like a saint that lives up to every value that we believe in. And also there's the inevitable issue that when you're, a teenager, you're in high school, you think one thing. And then as you get a little bit older, you start realizing that shit isn't like that. And you start changing your opinion. There's nothing wrong with it.
I think the one point where that is fair, though, is in the case of Tara McCarthy, where she described herself as a feminist. And I think that is fair to push back and critique that. I don't want to present like women are above criticism and we can't criticize women. Women should be held to the same standard of criticism as men are. And I think some of the criticism that was launched against Tara McCarthy was fair. But I think once people got a taste of that, they then ran with it and tried to use that on every woman who has been creating right-wing content. They applied it to people like Brittany Pettibone as well, who to my knowledge has not lived a sort of double life like some other women have. She's been very, I think, honest about what she's lived a life that is congruous with her messaging.
Well, yeah, but I think also I'm a firm believer in fresh starts and
Sure.
and the evolution of people's thinking. I mean, shit, when I was like 15, right? I thought that communism was great. And then when I was 16, I read the Gulag Archipelago and I was like, holy fucking shit. And after that, I was never a communist. And also the other family stuff that I learned about of family history and my own history, my family's history in Chile. And I realized, shit, communism is the worst fucking thing. But my point, when you're a little kid, you think all kinds of nonsense, okay? And you evolve because it's a natural part of living, and so you can't hold people to what they might have done or they did do when they were a teenager. What they're doing now. I mean, like if John Smith is a YouTube content creator and he's a hard right guy, and then all of a sudden he says that, fuck it, power to the people and let's abolish private property. Well, then, yeah, sure. But, just because John Smith way back when might have thought some idiocy and his thinking evolved, well, I'm not going to hold it against him, right?
Sure.
I think it was stupid. I think that in the Tara McCarthy case, I don't know the specifics of it, so I'm not going to comment because I didn't really care at the time. And but it bothered me in like a general sense because, like you said, when Brittany Pettibone or Lauren Southern, because they're more attractive than you, puts up a video, you could put James, and any one of them could have put up the exact same video, and theirs is going to get twice as many views because they're more attractive.
For Lauren, yeah, sure. I mean,
yeah. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but the thing is, see, they are proselytizers. They are selling the brand. They are spreading the message. And that is a good thing.
And in our culture, there is this idea that only, men in their basements who can't talk to women believe these ideas. So
exactly.
for a woman, an attractive woman, to come out there and say, no, these ideas are fairly normal, you can't discount the psychological impact that's going to have on people, the confirmation bias it's going to have on people, where they will then see that, oh yeah, these ideas are normal. Look, there's men and women who believe in this stuff, and for men, they will see that and they will think, oh yeah, this is not just an idea for loser men in their basements. And for women, because we need women too. We're not going to save any white demographics without women being on board with it. Women will see this and think, oh wow, this attractive girl thinks these very traditional thoughts. This isn't just for like backwoods, people or crazy, Mormons out in Utah or something. This is actually a normal thing I can believe too. So,
yeah. On your live chat, there's this guy called Wardley. War Diddley, and he says this guy is a sellout.
He's trolling you. He's trolling
you. I don't think I'm a sellout. I think I'm a practical guy. Okay, look. You look at the history of the Catholic Church. You know, when Christianity first emerged in Galilee, and then it moved to Rome, right? It was the women who were the strongest proselytizers, okay? It was the women. That's how Christianity spread. It's always been the case. Because at first, it's the basement-dwelling guys, you know, who can't get laid. Then it's the more normal guys. Mm-hmm. And then it's the girls. And then when the girls make it happen, the normal mainstream girls, the girls that other women like and admire, that's when it breaks out, okay? And so, you know, these young women on the right, they're the ones that we have to be encouraging because they spread the message, okay? You know, I've been following the alt-right and the whole hard right and what some people would call the reactionary right, or whatever you want to call it. I've been following it for a long time. I mean, early, okay. When I was disaffected by the Bush administration, in the first Bush administration, the George W. Bush in the early 2000s, and I realized that this guy was, you know, doing this whole war because it was just a big old neocon shit for the good and glory of other countries and not for the good and glory of the United States, right? Right. And I was like very disaffected, and I started scrounging around and looking around, and that's when I started coming across, you know, basically very obscure writers who were coming up with coherent critiques of modernity and of the left and of the mainstream culture, and that has slowly grown and blossomed. Before, there was just fucking minorities. Nobody read Steve Saylor. Nobody gave a shit about these people, right? But you know, it's grown and it's spreading out. And this is a good thing, and we need these women to do it more. What do you think of MGTOW, by the way?
Not a fan.
Specifics, please.
I think it encourages men to opt out of the modern world instead of recognizing the problems with it and adapting. I think that going your own way and opting out of relationships with women is not the answer, which is what I see advertised for a lot of MGTOW men. I think it's actually easier than a lot of these guys think to find a woman in modern America, the modern world, definitely, if you just have basic competency. If you have a decent job and you present well and you're fit, you can do well. I know many men who are average intelligence, average looks, average job, who have beautiful, attractive, wonderful spouses. Like, you can find a wife in America. I agree it's harder, you know, due to feminism and other conditions, but it's not impossible. And I think the problem with MGTOW is that it advises men who may be very young and are still developing, you know, 18, 19, 20-year-old men to opt out before they've really given it an earnest effort. And I think that is a problem. And from a very basic level, it's going to result in fewer families.
Exactly.
Less breeding.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
We can't
MGTOW ensures its own disappearance. Yeah. I am sympathetic to MGTOW. I understand that a lot of guys who join MGTOW, it's because they got hurt bad, and I understand that. I am not unsympathetic to it. And ditto with the men's rights movement. A lot of those guys, you know, they went through a nasty divorce. They got divorce raped. They lost custody of their kids. They never see them. I am completely sympathetic to that. Okay. But I think that checking out is a bullshit approach to life. You can't, you know, and having a woman, having a family, you want that. Okay. Of course it's a headache and it's a hassle. Sure. Nobody's fuck, man. I mean, yeah, I'd be shitloads richer and you know, with fewer gray hairs without the woman and the kids, right? But overall, it gives your life meaning. It gives your life, you know, a mountaintop to aim for. Okay. MGTOW doesn't provide that. It just, you know, you wind up just jerking off in your basement and not doing anything. Okay. I understand MGTOW for a period of your life. I actually think that guys should, between ages, college until their mid-30s, late 30s, a form of MGTOW where they just don't really engage with women and, you know, just get laid whenever they can, but just focus on their career and building themselves up as men and as professionals. I think that that's advisable. But after that, you know, you have to have a more complete life. You can't be focused on once you've settled the whole career thing or your business thing or whatever it might be, then deciding consciously that you're going to have a wife and kids and the whole thing. Yeah, I mean, that's basically what I did. Okay,
a lot of the MGTOW men will make fun of feminists for being cat ladies who are going to die alone, surrounding their cats.
Fucking ironic.
Well, you're going down the same route, but just as a man. And nothing in life that is and this is kind of a cliche axiom here, but it's true. Nothing in life that is worthwhile is going to just be easy and stress free.
Yeah.
Right? Getting rich is tough, but it's worth it. You know, having a lot of money is tough, but it's worth it. Having a family is tough, and there are sacrifices that must be made, but ultimately it's worth it. And I don't know if I'd agree with you to go so far as to say late 30s, go all the way to your late 30s to not have kids, just because of what that does to your children. I know because my parents are a little bit older, and are now in the next couple of years will be hitting their 60s. So I want my kids to have more time with their grandparents than I did. My grandpa passed away when I was like 12. So I think for the sake of posterity, you know, trying to aim for maybe late 20s or early 30s is a little bit better. But absolutely, you know, take the time to build yourself up, because when you're 28, 29, there are a lot of 20, 21, 22-year-old women who are looking to you as the hottest commodity on the market.
Yeah. I got married when I was 45.
Sure.
Okay. And my wife was 23, and it worked out great. You know, a couple of kids and everything going, you know, copacetic. The whole notion of living your life for yourself is destructive, because men, people in general do not really live very well if they're aiming only for themselves, because it winds up being just, okay, I'm going to buy something, maybe that will make me happier.
Yeah.
Right. You have to be striving towards something. That's what makes men happy. I think one of the big problems that MGTOW and a lot of guys have is that they don't hold their nerve insofar as women are concerned.
Right.
You know, a lot of the pickup artist community, they always talk about, you know, maintaining frame. That's absolutely true. And the other axiom I would add to that is being willing and able to walk away from any situation that's negative. Right. A lot of guys, you know, they're getting laid, and they're thinking to themselves, you know, I got this woman and she's horrible, or she treats me like dirt, but I'm getting laid, so I'll stick with her. No, you got to be thinking to yourself, if you're that miserable, just walk away. You'll find somebody better. You always do. Okay. But this thing that I think a lot of MGTOW guys seem to think is that, you know, they will never do better, and so they opt out because. Do you see what I'm trying to say here?
Right, exactly. No, they think that it's nothing. It's not worth it. All women are sluts. Nothing is worth it anymore. I'm just going to give up and opt out, and I'll be happier by myself. You know, I'm seeing people in the chat say, oh, why would you get married when there's a 50% chance of failure? Well, that stat isn't accurate. I mean, the 50% divorce rate is among all marriages. That counts people who get married and divorced multiple times. The majority of marriages are single person, single marriage for life. And again, this comes down to selecting the right woman. No one is saying go out there and find a woman and get married after 3 months of dating. Date them for a while to ensure that you're getting the right person, because it should be, at least in my conception of marriage, is it should be once and it should be for life. Yeah. And so make sure you're getting the right person. Too many people in our society, because of no-fault divorce, have this idea that marriages are just disposable. Marriages are just like outfits. You just change whenever you want. That's not the way it's supposed to be. Never the way it was supposed to be. You're supposed to get married and stick with it for life. And so be selective. And if you are selective, your marriage has a very good chance of succeeding. In fact, a majority. Yeah,
I completely agree. And also have some fucking self-respect. You know, right. There are these guys who hitch their wagon to fucking sluts. I mean, fucking just horrible women. You know, have some fucking standards. You know, when I go and buy a pair of shoes, right? I pay attention to how well it's made, and you know, does it look, you know, well sewn, well put together, all that stuff. It's just a pair of fucking shoes, right? Mm-hmm. Guys are willing to hitch their wagon to the absolutely worst skanks imaginable just because they're getting a little pussy thrown their way. I mean, wake up. What the fuck are you doing? You know, exactly. I mean, yeah. And like you said, you have to pay attention to the woman. not to her sexual attractiveness. I'm going to be doing a video when I get going again with my videos, because right now I'm in a weird period here, but in a couple of weeks I'm going to be starting up again with my videos on a regular basis. And one of the videos I'm going to be doing is called "All Women Are Two Women," and it's a very simple idea. See, you look at a woman, right? And on the one hand, there is the sexually attractive person, and on the other hand is the actual human being within. Okay, and a lot of times guys confuse that sexual packaging with the actual person, and you have to make a distinction between the two. And guys should like wake up, you know, and be smart. Pay attention to the woman that you're dealing with, not to the sexual being, because lots of guys, especially guys with not that much experience, they tend to be overwhelmed by the sexual packaging, and then, you know, they hitch their wagon to that sexual packaging, and they realize that they married a horrible human being. You got to pay attention. You got to make that split in your mind between, okay, yeah, she's really sexy, but is she a decent person? Is she a person with strong moral character? Is she going to make a good mother? Is she going to put the children's well-being above her own, or will she just, you know, blow off the kids and go shopping? Right? I mean, you gotta pay attention to that shit. And a lot of times with guys who don't have that much experience, who haven't figured out how to get women on a regular basis, they get overwhelmed by the sexual packaging. And that is the absolutely worst thing. They should pay attention to who the woman is. Because look, the most important thing is that you got to find a woman who prioritizes the kids over herself. That's at the end of the day, that's my thinking.
Yes.
That's the most important thing. Okay. And also the other thing that I would, as an older guy with more experience, with successes and failures in my past, I would say that what guys should pay attention to is not if they are quote unquote in love with a woman. They have to pay attention to whether she's going to be a good mother, if she's going to do the things necessary to create a wholesome, healthy, and happy family environment, which is very, very different from somebody that you quote unquote fall in love with. Right. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Oh, man, I'm ranting. So let's.
No, that's very smart, because that feeling, that dopamine rush of love can come, but it can also go very easily. And it can last for a couple of years, maybe on the longer side, and then dissipate. And then what are you left with, right? If you didn't do the due diligence and make sure that this woman has the right characteristics for the lifetime partner that you're after, then when that dopamine rush fades, you'll be left with someone who you are not compatible with, and more importantly, who's not compatible or not capable of raising your kids the way you want your children to be raised.
Exactly. Somebody here in the chat is asking me a couple of questions. I'm going to ask you I was answering it really quickly. Asking me if I have any divorces in my past. No, I don't. I'm still in the first marriage. I fucked around. I fucked around a lot, you know, and I'm glad I did. Okay, that's why I was saying that, you know, my own experience. As I said, I got married in my early 40s. Mm-hmm. My thinking is that it's just better to get it out of your system and fuck around, and then get married and stuff. Get it out of your system, and also get over that hump, because I don't think that there's a man alive who cannot be overwhelmed by the sexual attractiveness of a woman. Not all women, of course, but of a particular woman. Sure. I'm sure it's happened to you, James. It's happened to every guy that he meets some girl and he's just overwhelmed by her sexual power over him because that particular girl just happens to just press his buttons just so, okay? Right. And every guy loses his head over some girl like that. And every guy gets his heart broken by that fucking skank at some point or another. It's part of life, you know? It's part of the fun of life, you know? Because my thinking has always been that, see, there are these guys who try to be happy. And I think that's just dumb. Because happiness is not a state. It's a moment. It's an oasis in life, okay? And life is ups and downs. And the funny thing that's happened to me in my own experience is a lot of times when I look back at the worst times of my life, they oddly give me enormous happiness, because the contrast of my life now compared to when it was really bad, that contrast is the thing that gives me value and happiness, if you will. Okay? Trying to be happy, I'm never happy. when I'm just living my life and just experiencing those contrasts. Because yeah, sure, sometimes I've been really down in the dumps, but then, you know, the wave catches me and raises me up, and it's just, you know, it's just elation. And so my thinking is for guys is that you have to like not try to look for a steady state, but just go on the adventure and aim for something, you know? Okay, so here endeth the lesson. And so anyway, look, dude, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Absolutely.
And but unfortunately, I do have to run because I have a thing here at 12:30 now.
No, that's perfect. Yeah, it's 2:30 in the morning, and I was just about to say the same. But we should do this again. Let's definitely do this again.
Sure.
And
whenever you want.
Sure. Good. Yeah. Thanks for coming on. This was a very you know, normally good conversations don't arise out of the YouTube Spurg chat, so this was a good a good exception to that rule. But
yeah, it was a real pleasure talking to you. Finally, because I've been a great admirer of your stuff. You know, so anyway, I'll stop sucking your dick and I'll stop annoying your live chat guys, and I will see you all later. So take it easy.
All righty. Thank you, Coach. Speak again soon. Talk to you later.